Tea Time with Mr. Parrish, der Podcast mit Brian Parrish und Sören Rodenberg.
Alle Neune sind voll mit Tea Time with Mr. Parrish. Willkommen zu einer weiteren Folge. And now we're going down, down, down to Dark Night of the Soul, Mr. Parrish.
Ja, es klingt ein bisschen dunkel, ist es auch, aber ich kann das später erklären. This is a song about the ultimate decision. All the songs on the album are about choices, and all the little choices lead to perhaps bigger events in our lives, but the big choice, and I would say the ultimate choice, is whether you go the dark way or not, is what really affects our spiritual and physical life. And so this song is called Dark Night of the Soul, and I can talk a bit more about it later on. Okay.
Yes, and I'm interested in what choice you're going to take concerning a Mr. Parrish joke. Let's hear one.
Joking with Mr. Parrish.
This is a story about a musician who dies, and he's a very popular, world-famous musician and everything else. And when he dies, he gets into a place where St. Peter says to him, well, we got a problem, because normally you would go to heaven or you would go to hell, and it depends on your relationship with God and what you did in your life and everything else. And it's like a spiritual bank balance. He said, you are completely even. You've brought people a lot of pleasure with your music, and you've been very loving in some ways, but you've also done some bad stuff. So we don't know where to put you. He said, but we've taken the exception here to give you a choice. I'm going to let you look in the door of heaven for a minute, and I'm going to let you look in the door of hell for a minute, and you choose what you want.
Es wird eine Ausnahme gemacht und der Musiker kann aussuchen, ob in den Himmel oder in die Hölle kommt. Okay, ja.
So he opens the door to heaven, and it's beautiful. It's clear blue sky, it's beautiful grass, animals playing, birds flying, lovely music playing. It's just so beautiful. And he closed the door, and he says, well, that's beautiful. He said, do you want to just see what hell is like? He says, okay. So he opens the door to hell, and in there, it's all kind of like it's like a club, there's a red velvet curtains and all of this stuff, and all over there are people sitting around, and he looks, and it's all world-famous musicians. Ray Charles is sitting there talking with, Aretha Franklin. There's Robert Johnson sitting there, and James Brown, Dizzy Gillespie, and then some more modern ones, Jimi Hendrix, and I mean they're just all there with all the instruments. All the instruments are set up on stage. He says, well, which one do you want? He said, well, it's difficult, but with those guys sitting there, all those instruments, and obviously that music and everything else, he said, I've got to choose hell. He said, are you sure you're going to be there forever? He said, oh yeah, no question. So he says, okay. So he goes into hell, and he closes the door behind him. And at that very moment, the big voice says to all the musicians, he says, okay, guys, your tea break is finished. Now we'll start again with the music. 1, 2, 3. Boom, 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 and so on. You like that?
Yeah, it's my hell every weekend.
It's absolute hell.
Advertise Advocates.
Ihr habt es mit Sicherheit mitbekommen, das neue Album Shadow Man von Brian Parrish ist veröffentlicht und auch die Musikfachpresse ist darauf aufmerksam geworden. Es hat Anklang gefunden sozusagen und es gibt einen schönen langen Album-Review auf www.rocktimes.info. Gleiches gibt es auch in der Good Times Ausgabe, die Ende Mai erscheint, am 26.05. Und mit dabei ist auch ein Interview von Brian, auf das wir sehr gespannt sind. Und dann möchten wir natürlich nochmal auf das Konzert in der Music Hall Worpswede hinweisen. Tickets gibt es auf www.musichall-worpswede.eu. Mr. Parrish, you want to be there?
DE, dachte ich.
No, EU.
Okay, I'll be there. I will be there. I promise. I bought my ticket.
Song from the Shadow Man.
This is a song which draws upon the Robert Johnson myth. For people who don't know Robert Johnson, very influential blues guy from the 1930s. Eric Clapton quotes him as a big influence, but not just Eric, lots of people do. And he gave us things like Sweet Home Chicago and these songs, that we know in the blues catalogue.
And did you know that Robert Johnson was kind of the first inductee of the Club of the 27s?
He
died. He was the first famous musician.
He died at 27. I mean, the myth is that he was killed mysteriously. He was a big womanizer, and he was really an extreme character, very talented, and torn between God and the devil, the church, and womanizing, and he would always, when he played, he would always end up with the most beautiful, sexy women, and he didn't care if they were married to other people or something.
It's like Brian Parrish.
No, not me. No, I'm not. No, please. I don't do anything like that. Well, I'm not saying that I was not always playing in the in a white shirt. I was sometimes wearing a black one too, but. Robert Johnson was in that mould, in the original image of the musician drinking and sexing and all of this, But in those days, the 1930s, there was a culture that was about superstition. That in fact, the blues was always called the devil's music, and there was this big Grand Canyon of a gap between God and the devil and the devil's music and church music and so on. And they say that he met the devil at the crossroads and did a deal for his soul to play guitar better, which he played fantastically well. But the devil supposedly retuned his guitar, and and if you believe that myth, it's convenient because he disappeared for a while. First of all, not being able to play very well, and then when he came back, he could play like an absolute god, And so they said that the devil gave him that. Whether or not that's true, I used in this song, the song is called The Dark Night of the Soul, I used that metaphor for the big decisions that we make, because every decision we make affects our lives, but sometimes there's a really dark one. So I really just was talking about the individual who is standing at the crossroads, and I've used it more as a metaphor, although I'm telling it like a story. And I'm saying, it's not too late to turn around. But it is, the lyric you mentioned is, you're going down, down, down. And that's what I've used for the Dark Night of the Soul. What I'm saying, although it's a very dark theme and a very dark kind of music, is I'm saying it's never too late. You can always say, God help me.
Yeah, and Dark Night of the Soul is not only dark, it's especially in the last part, there's a little blink of hope.
Yes.
In it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah. I mean, I've got something like, I say, some people, some sing in tongues of angels, some are howling in the dark. Some people got a king snake wrapped around their heart. I mean, how dark is that, But then I say, better run back where you came from and live to tell the tale, or be lost in realms of voodoo with a hellhound on your trail. All these are kind of Robert Johnson images. But yes. At the end, it's saying, think about what you want, because the price for what you want could be the very death of you from a spiritual point of view. And you can call upon the Lord, whose love will never fail. Let him take your spirit. There's still a little time. So in the end, I'm trying not to just be dark. I've used the mood of the music and the rest of the text to create that atmosphere.
Yes, and I especially like at the ending, it's a kind of a fade out of instruments, but without losing volume of the track. As a producer, it's done very, very good.
Thank you. There's some good production there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I did a good production, but who really helped me was Steph Ulrich, who's a co-producer, and his ear for dynamics is fantastic. So, he would know what I wanted, and whatever I could do, he could take it a stage further. Like Frank Burgund did with the pictures, I sketched out the ideas, and he always could add another dimension because he's a talented guy. And Steph is like that. Good drummer, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's take a listen to Dark Night of the Soul. And next week it's going to be emotional for us, and we're going to take a listen next week to Taking Flight. And I was in tears when you first played me the rough version of this song, and we're gonna hear it next week. But bis dahin hören wir uns Dark Night of the Soul an.
Yeah, see you next time, folks.
Silver moon at midnight, the world is standing still, but your heart it pounds like thunder. You seem to lose your will. You have come to take your chances, a gambler in the night. A gypsy woman dances, her face a ghostly white. Well, you heard about Robert Johnson. They say he walked this way. He was searching for an answer, and he gave his soul away. If there's any truth in that, you will find it out tonight. Standing at these crossroads before the morning light, you're going down, down, down. You're going down. You're going down, down, down. You're going down. Will you walk the path of darkness when old love can't ever go? Are beyond the reach of mercy on that cursed and lonely road? Is that someone in the shadows with eyes of fiery red? Or is there really no one? Is it all inside your head? You're going down, down, down. You're going down, 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 down. You're going down. Yes, you're going down, down, down. You're going down, going down, down, down. You're going Some sing in tongues of angels, some are howling in the dark. Some people got a king snake wrapped around their hearts. You better run back where you came from and live to tell a tale. I'll be lost in realms of voodoo with that hellhound on your trail. You're going down, down, down. You're going down, you're going down, down, down. You're going down. Be careful what you wish for. Your wishes might come true, and the price for what you wanted could be the death of you. There is one who has all power. Better pray you find him now, standing at these crossroads in this your darkest hour. A swirling mist surrounds you, and the wind begins to wail. You better call upon the Lord, whose love will never fail. Just let him take your spirit. There's still a little time. Lift your eyes to see, or be forever blind.
Tea Time with Mr. Parrish, der Podcast mit Brian Parrish und Sören Rodenberg.